The other day I was looking on Craigslist for, just looking for stuff. And I put, always put the search term in, just radio. And I found this. If you know what this is, I've never seen one before until I seen that Craigslist ad, and I did some research on it, and it's a pretty interesting piece of equipment here. It's a Morris coil winder. And the base is painted aluminum color, but it's definitely cast iron from the weight of it. From what I can tell, it's pretty much complete. 2 sets of gears. I might be missing 1 set of gears. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. 3 cams. There's 1 installed here. So how this is supposed to work, this is out of adjustment right now. But you put your blank for your coil in here. So you can do bigger ones and then flip them around, and you can do smaller ones. The taper is supposed to grab the tube. This is supposed to ride up on this cam. This is out of adjustment. So this is supposed to go back and forth as you crank it. This will come out. We'll pull out here. It's pretty rusty. I don't think it's been used in a very long time. I got it super cheap for what I think is super cheap. I kind of scraped it or brushed it a little bit with this brass brush right here. This was all solid rust. So I got some evapor rust coming, and I'm going to take this apart and soak all the metal parts in evapor rust and see how they look when it comes out. I don't know that I'll ever use it, but it's for winding RF coils and maybe even oscillator coils. So it's a pretty interesting piece of equipment. When you crank the handle, the dial turns, but the pointer stays in place. And I don't have any instructions on how to operate this thing, but it seems to me as though that you would set this to the 0 point or somewhere on here so it points at a number. You write that down, and then you figure out how many turns you're supposed to have of the wire, and this will go back and forth. This will go back and forth and lay down your weave on your coil. So this is a coupler. So this is just all of these appear to me to be 1/4-inch cold roll. So, pretty easy to make. The only thing they machined was the round end on this one. I haven't taken these apart to see what they're like, but they rounded. That one's just been cut. So if any of it breaks, it's pretty easy to fix. And if this is bent or damaged, it's just a piece of all thread, 1/4-inch all thread. Looks like 1/4-20 to me, all thread. This coupler, 4 screws. This pulls out, that pulls off. I haven't investigated how to get this apart yet, but I'm going to disassemble it and soak it in the evapor rust when it comes. I've seen that evapor rust on the internet, and it looks like it does a pretty good job of removing the rust. So I'm going to go for it with this. Get this thing cleaned up. Nice. Like I said, I don't know if I'll ever use it. I'm not sure how I'm going to clean this up. I think this is a piece of paper, possibly, that's just glued down to this piece of metal, so I'm going to be very careful with this, and I don't think this is going to end up in the evapor rust. I'm going to have to do this one by hand somehow. I don't want to screw up this decal. I don't have any way to make a new one and get it on there properly. So, well, there it is. This shouldn't be, a big deal. I'll get it apart, get it in the evapor rust, and we'll see what the parts look like when I take them out of the evapor rust. Pretty interesting piece of equipment here. Very interesting to me. The only thing I think there might be another piece that held the wire, so you tension the wire possibly, And I don't think that would be that hard to do. And it definitely was meant to be screwed down. There's holes in it to screw it down. So I would assume you would put it on a piece of board, and then you would have your wire holder over here. Probably adjustable, so you could, you know, different length. So you'd have different size coils or whatever. Pardon me. So this has got 3 holes in it. There's 3 holes in it. So you can, different lengths, right? 3 holes, different lengths. So that's pretty floppy on that one. Which I think that would be okay. That's pretty floppy on that one. But this first one, it fits nice and tight on there. You gotta... So I'll see if I can find instructions online for it. And thanks for watching. We'll be back when I get the stuff out of the evaporust. Well, the Morris coil winder's been taken apart and soaking in the pardon me, in the evaporust overnight. Put it in around 8:30 last night. So it's been in here just a little over 12 hours. Getting close to 14, 15 hours. Oh, look at that. Just absolutely take the rust off of it. It must convert some of the rust too, because it's kind of got that black, you know. I mean, I think it does a beautiful job. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. I got the base painted, cleaned up and painted. I soaked it in the evaporust again. I turned it over so the full depth of it got in the evaporust. Well, that evaporust works great. So, yeah. Assembly time now. I think I'm going to put a little bit of grease under that wheel, just a real light coating. And I don't want to put grease on everything, so I'm thinking maybe like a light oil when you go to use it in these areas here. I'm not sure. Well, I didn't look to see if there's instructions, so I will see if there's any maintenance. You know, it doesn't get used that much, so it's not going to wear all that much. I just don't want it to make a bunch of noise when you're using it, you know. That would drive me nuts. So I think the grease I'm going to use is that Caliper Grease that I used. Yeah, this stuff right here. Man, I really got to clean my bench off. Is this synthetic Caliper Grease. This stuff lasts for a long time. It doesn't really dry out. It's just really good grease. I've done brakes, you know, caliper pivot pins, and I've taken them apart like years and years later, and this grease is still like brand new. So this is pretty good stuff. I mean, it's not the greatest. It's probably not the right stuff for something like this, but this is what I got, and I'm not going to go get something special. So, and it works good. I know it lasts for a long time. So here's all the parts after coming out of the evaporust. Maybe they could have stayed in there a little longer, but I mean, they were in there for 14, 15 hours. I mean, there's no rust on these. It could be starting to come back a little bit on this one, but you know what? I'm okay with the way they look, how they turned out. These things were super rusty. So that evaporust works really good. And doing a spring, cleaning a rusty spring, man, that is a nightmare. I've done that before, and it's just, just go get a new spring. Let's just be done with it and get a new spring. So, Yeah, the shafts all turned out really nice. Even the piece of all thread turned out nice. The little screws all turned out nice. And the needle. The only thing is I have no way to make a new label for this. But I'm okay with it for now. It isn't like I got to really tear this thing down that far to get this off if I can figure out how to make a new label for it in the future. Not that I really need to. I'm not one to really restore something, but this thing was getting so rusty, I thought it needed to be de-rusted at the very least and painted. The parts that would normally be painted. So, all right, I'm gonna start assembling it. Well, I got it back together and I, pardon me, I lubed it up as best I could. I don't have any magnet wire. All I've got is some thread. I thought just to check it out, see how it works with some thread. Pardon me. I clamped it down to the workbench with this clamp temporarily. Man, the trees are going crazy here. I've got number 1. These are labeled 1, 2, and 3, but there's no numbers on the gears. So the gearing, I guess you're guessing at? I'm not sure. And I've lubed this and lubed it, and I'm not sure. It could be this making noise. I didn't put any oil on this. But you can see it. Oh man, that is annoying. I thought I'd get a close-up of the coil after it's been wound. It's not the greatest weave. It's my first time doing this. You can see it definitely does have a pattern. I think wire and a piece of thin piece of double-sided tape on the bottom of this would probably really help with the starting it and getting the coil tight. It's pretty cool. I think wire would work better too instead of this like thread, you know. So it's pretty cool. All right, thanks for watching.